and welcome to livealittlehigher.com. This week we read Parashah Vayeira and we continue walking in the footsteps of our forefather Abraham. And the Torah portion begins relating how God approached Abraham, and he came to talk with him. It was the third day after he had done his Brit Milah, his circumcision. And usually circumcision or any surgery, the third day of any surgery is the day that it hurts the most. And from here we know from the Midrash, it tells us that it was a scorching day. It was very, very hot out there. And God had done it specifically so nobody would come to bother Abraham. He used to love to cater to people, wayfarers that were traveling through the desert. He had an inn in Beersheba, and he used to bring people there and give them food and give them to drink. And so that day, God had made the day very hot so he wouldn't have to deal with people. And they were in a deep conversation, but he was very sad because he was not being able to do the mitzvah of Ochnasas Orehim, which is to bring strangers into your home and give them food. It's called hospitality. So suddenly Abraham saw these three strangers. They were standing, and he turned away from God and he went to see who they were and if they wanted to eat and if they were thirsty. And from here we learn that hospitality to strangers is one of the biggest mitzvahs there is in the Torah. It's called Ochnasas Orehim. This is something very, very common in the Jewish homes, where people who are passing by and they don't have a place to eat or sleep, we open our homes to them and we have them for meals, especially during Yom Tov, the holidays, or on Shabbat. And it says that hospitality to wayfarers is even greater than receiving the divine presence. So such hospitable behavior has become an integral part of our conduct. Yet Abraham himself had no such commandment. God had never told him, hey, you have to open your house to strangers. So the question is, what led him to do this? So the answer is kindness, hesed. He personified this attribute, this godly attribute of kindness, of love and kindness. This is what motivated him to do what he did. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe teaches us something very interesting. He says that there's two types of kindness. One is a magnanimity way of motivation to do kindness, and the other one comes from humility. So magnanimity is when a person is very wealthy or he's very important and he has a feeling like, okay, I have a responsibility with others. I have to be open and I have to be splendorous and generous. And he does it out of conviction, out of responsibility. And then there's another type of kindness, which is the one that Abraham Avinu personified, which is the kindness that comes from humility. And this humility that was exhibited by Abraham came because he saw himself as mere earth and ashes. He didn't see himself as anything big, although he was like a king of his time. He was a very rich man and he was very famous and he was someone of a great stature and honor. But he didn't see himself like that. He saw himself like nothing, like if he was earth and ashes. And he was able to see the godly spark in every person he met. He saw divinity within the creation of God. And because of that, he was kind to all, because he saw God in everybody. So this way of treating others really comes from a place of understanding that when God brings an opportunity for us to be kind to someone else, it's not, oh, I'm such a great person, I'm a big shot, I'm able to do kindness. No. On the other hand, look at yourself like, wow, that person, God is putting that person in front of me for me. He's giving me the ability to be kind. I'm not kind because I make myself kind. I'm kind because God gives me opportunities in my life to be kind. And so this comes from a very humble place. And because Abraham's kindness and hospitality came from this type of kindness, of humility and self-effacement, he not only placed his physical life in danger to save people, like for example in this parasha, he saves his nephew from the kings and from Sodom and Gomorrah that gets destroyed. He puts his life in line to save other people. And he saw himself like, okay, I'm here for God. I'm here to serve Hashem, to be kind to Him. And how can I be kind to God? The only way I can be kind to God is I'm kind with His children. So the Talmud explains that in addition to providing hospitality to these people that were wandering around in the desert, Abraham also served his inn, his house, his Chabad house, also served as a center for bringing the truth of the one God to a pagan world. We have to understand that in the times of Abraham, people believed in every type of gods, like they believed in the trees and the stars and the sun, in the moon, in the wind. They prayed to everything in the world, to wood idols. Everything for them was a very pagan culture. So he took advantage of being the only person that could provide food in the desert to these people that were wandering in the desert, and he would bring them into his inn, and he would serve them wine and meat and dine them and wine them, and in that way he would get them to acknowledge God. So at the end of a meal, people would ask him, how much do I owe you? And so he would tell them, no, you only have to say this blessing, and that's it. You have to say a blessing in which you are acknowledging that God is the one that's feeding you. Blessed be the God of the world from whose providence we have eaten. And this is actually the first blessing of the Birkat Hamazon, which is the blessings after the meal. When we eat bread, we do these blessings where we're thanking Hashem for the sustenance, and this blessing was instituted by Abraham Avinu, which till today we still say it. So he would tell people, okay, you just have to say this blessing, and the people, because they believed in God, they didn't want to acknowledge God, and they would say, no, I'm not going to do the blessing. So he would tell them, okay, then you have to pay for your meal. You have to pay. How much is it? So in those days, he would charge with a currency called furlin. So he would say, okay, for the jug of wine is 1 furlin. Let's say it was $100. And then they would say, and for the pound of meat is $100, 1 furlin. For a loaf of bread is 1 furlin, another $100. And by the end of the check, it would be like $500, $600 for each person. And the person would say, like, oh no, that's exorbitant, like, you're crazy, how am I going to pay for this? So he would say, okay, but meat and wine and bread in the middle of a desert is not a cheap thing. It's not free. So he would tell the guest, okay, if you want it to be free, then you at least have to look up and you have to acknowledge who gave it to you. And that was the way in which he started infusing this idea of monotheism into the minds of a pagan world, where people would come and look up and acknowledge that Hashem was the sole provider of the world. Also, his vision of humanity was that he saw the good in every person. Abraham, his kindness, this kindness that he had, that he exemplified, was a kindness in which he was able to tap into the goodness of every person. And he would see that when a person didn't act in the right way, it was hypocritical from the person. Because the truth of a person was to recognize God and to be grateful. So when Abraham looked at his guests, he did not see pagans. He was not looking at these idolaters. He wasn't like disgusted by them. The only thing he did was, like, he saw that they saw creatures that were created by God in his image. Every man, every woman, every child, everything was created in the image of God. And he saw that they possessed a potential inherent to the very essence of their being. Like if this God created man and let us make him in my image, what he saw is like every person has the potential to act in their life in a divine way. So most often, a kind word, a helping hand would bring to light this inner potential of a person. And at times, however, a soul was so encrusted by negative influences, he was so trapped in the corrupted mindset of the time that his character had become soiled, that at that moment when the person put resistance in acknowledging the kindness of Hashem, that's when he would tell them, okay, then you have to pay for your food. So that was the way that he bribed people a little bit. And you know, when you touch someone's pocket, they think a little more. So Abraham understood that no human acknowledgement of God can ever be hypocritical. On the contrary, a pagan belief and a behavior is the ultimate hypocrisy. So when people attach themselves to other deities, in our days, it's the money, it's the prestige, it's your positions, your possessions, and you put your trust in all these things. That is hypocrisy. But when a person looks up into the sky and he proclaims, "Blessed be the God of the world from whose providence we have eaten," then there's no such thing as hypocrisy. This is the truth. When a person recognizes his inherent value and his inherent goodness, because he is a creation of God, because he can be like that, because God made him to be that, then this is the ultimate truth. So I want to wish you a blessed week, and remember, live a little higher. Thank you.